The basic question asked, the Census Bureau reports that the households spend an average of 31% of their total spending on housing. A home builders association in Cleveland believes that this average is lower in their area. They interview a sample of 40 households in the Cleveland metropolitan area to learn what percent of their spending goes toward housing. Take mean to be the mean percent of spending devoted to housing among all Cleveland households. We want to test the hypothesis HO, mean equals 31%, and HA, mean is less than 31%. The standard deviation of the population is 9.6%. What is the sampling distribution of the mean percent X bar that the sample spends on housing if the null hypothesis is true? Sketch the density curve of the sampling distribution. In the question, they gave us our mean of 31%, which is in the gray on the graph. And we want to do standard deviation over the square root of n, which is 9.6 over square root of 40, which gives us our new standard deviation on the graph, which equals 1.5179. And we want to label that. And I did it 2 standard deviations away from the mean. Since they didn't tell us that this was going to be approximately normal, we would assume that it is based on our big enough and small enough rule. If NP is greater than 10 and NQ is also greater than 10, then our sample is big enough to assume normality. And also 10 times 40 equals 400, which is less than 10% of the whole population. We would also want to assume normality. B, suppose that the study finds X bar equals 30.2 for the 40 households in the sample. Mark this point on the axis in your sketch. Then suppose that the study result is X bar equals 27.6%. Mark this point on your sketch. Referring to your sketch. Explain in simple language why one result is good evidence that the average Cleveland spending on housing is less than 31%, whereas the other result is not. So the mean over here, 30.2, which is in the green, is one of the mean values that they gave us, and also 27.6. And as you can see, this value is a lot less than 31% than this 30.2 value is. This is a better evidence because this mean value is about within 1 standard deviation of the mean in the null hypothesis. C says shade the area under the curve that gives us the p-value for the result X bar equals 30.2. And as you can kind of see, I shaded the area under 30.2 with the pink colored pencil.